The initial idea was to film a costume showcase video of two dwarves in 2019, and we found out that a lot of people had made Lord of the Rings costumes and wanted to be part of the project. And we couldn't fit them all in the same story because they were from different timelines in Tolkien's universe.
Originally, the story had Aragorn in it, and I was cast to play him. But then the script changed and the story changed, and he got cut off from the story, so I got asked to play one of the Mirkwood elves instead.
Lord Madhouse got asked to act one of the Mirkwood elves, and well, we're all living together, so I got asked to be one of the elves too.
Our director Samsa saw my pictures online about this Thranduil cosplay.
I got to be part of the project by Samsa asking me and Saara to join the team, since we already had Killian Philly costumes.
We were talking after one convention with Samsa. He had suited me there, and in those talks we came to talk about this project and how I like it to act, and he basically asked me to be part of the project.
When you are talking about Lord of the Rings or the world of the Lord of the Rings, I think the best composer could be only Howard Shore. But I guess the group didn't have enough money to have his services, so they chose me to compose.
When you are cosplaying or having photo shoots, it's basically just your friends dressed up these characters. But in these kind of movies, they become fully realized characters, and you'll get to be a part of this amazing story.
It was so interesting to meet how total new group of people are making these kind of things that I'm used to making, but now I have different playmates.
Something that was totally new for me was working as a team on the Mirkwood costumes, but remotely. We could only send pictures via Discord, and all the pictures were taken in different lights, and all the colors of the fabrics were different. And
we had to make sure that we followed the same guidelines, that they would all be from the same forest and same team.
The goal was to make the film feel like a Lord of the Rings film, which for a lot of people it means the Peter Jackson's films, and so we wanted to make a lot of similarities. It could be the camera angles, it could be the voiceover lines, or it could be the use of languages, or the end credits, or the music.
It was very clear already at the beginning that the music should be in the same world as the music that Howard Shore composed to the trilogy of Lord of the Rings. But at the same time we wanted to create something new.
Most of our looks based on these movies that Peter Jackson has created. We have seen Kili and Philly and all the other dwarves. We have seen Thranduil and we have seen elves, but we have never seen the Queen of Mirkwood before. It takes a lot of courage, and Arctica Lea had to do that. I think it's really interesting to see how the audience react to that.
Most of the production happened in Finland, but there were also people coming from other places. The narrator came from UK. We had pronunciation guide for Elvish coming from USA, and in the end credits we had these illustrations which actually were made by several artists from different countries like Ireland, Spain, Canada.
One of the coolest thing was to cooperate with a singer called Charm, who is living in United Kingdom, and so I live in Finland and she lives in UK, and we have never actually met. But nowadays it's possible to cooperate with a person who is living another side of the world, and I was amazed her voice and her ability to interpret music.
I really admire our behind-the-scenes photographer, Pixie Affect. She was so invisible in a good way that I didn't even notice that she took photos of us on that day.
I think a really good example of people I like to work with is the Herald, our narrator. She was patient and willing to do revisions, but it was not just about me saying that, okay, this doesn't work, say this instead, but she was constantly coming up with new ideas, and she was also doing proofreading, and she taught me English.
The director, Sampsa Kares, he had to find new contacts, have a lot of cooperation with different people.
He's doing so many things for this project, like editing and directing and scripting and sound and producing. Like producing on itself, it's a big amount of work.
And because this was non-profit short film, nobody was making money.
It's a lot of work when you need to find one day that fits for everybody for shooting that takes 15 person to shoot.
This music really needs good sound, like what a real orchestra can do, but we couldn't afford that. So I had to create the sound using sounds. So I had to buy new sounds and learn to use them. And of course it took much more time.
Filmmaking consists of artistic work and boring work. And when everybody is working for free, you don't necessarily want them to feel like they are working for free. The boring work and the artistic work need to be shared equally among everybody, so that nobody feels like they are working for free.
One of the visual effect artists is Onyxi, and she was editing the gyms to make them shine more brightly. Suddenly you have all kind of cursing and this kind of total different mood in same room, and you have no idea where it comes.
In visual effects, a few second clip can take dozens of hours to make.
The Elf King's bracelet that are same color than the gyms, and suddenly easy, fast, automatic work turned to be a lot of extra handwork, and she was just cursing and being very verbal about the situation.
We were in the forest filming, so of course there is a lot of insects, and we were filming the first scene where we and the Mirkwood elves are pointing the doors with arrows and bows, and because it was already rolling, I couldn't move anymore, and I felt that one horsefly landed on my cheek and bite me.
Ja käy. N-Y-T nyt.
I haven't written so many lyrics in English, so I had to write one song in English, and that was challenging.
The Lord of the Rings is all about languages, and we wanted our film to respect that.
When you listen to the music, you hear words which might be unfamiliar for you, and the reason is that I have used languages that Tolkien has created. So the other one is Sindarin Elves language, and the other is language of dwarves.
One of the hardest things when we were filming was it was super hot day.
The heat, oh my god, the heat was the worst.
Dwarves have a lot of layers.
Even the lightest costume of the group had some part made from wool and leather.
They couldn't take them off.
We did learn a lot of things during the shoot, like the importance of brakes, how to use ice beneath your clothing.
Hydration capsules, like, they was the best thing ever when you just had too much on you, and then you have this thing that keep you hydrated. Like, it keep you alive.
I feel all my elf friends because they had to run so much with their costumes and bows and long, luscious hair.
The arrow quivers were dropping, cameraman was falling.
The heroes of this project were definitely the assistants.
Tuomo was working with the lights and with the cameraman, and Kay was making sure that we, the actors, extras, looked our best.
They made sure that our elves' hair was pristine.
Helping us and bringing us water.
We had enough breaks.
Taking care of us all and made the day a lot easier.
I can't believe how friendly the cosplay community is.
Faroni and Arctica Lena were staying here with me and Dragonary, and we were all tired and we were all hungry. We were just lying on our backs, eating pizza and laughing at some memes that Faroni and Kiipi made.
There was that one day I was assisting and I was holding the queen's hem so that she wouldn't tumble on it while filming, and I ended up being a Gollum.
My elf outfit ended up to look very close to the Tauriel's outfit, and then we had Dragonary as an another elf, and she's short and dark-haired, and we have Kili. So we made a joke about her being our daughter that ended up to be a running gag.
One of the funniest things during the filming was shooting of the scene in which Kili runs and the gems fall down. The scene itself in the video isn't anything special, but in order for me to get the gems to fall down, I had to run quite comically.
It was super interesting to see all the different obstacles other actors face, and especially one scene where the queen is lying on the ground and her hair is all over the place. And after that scene, like half of the forest was sticked on her hair.
We had dwarves who were really, really short, and then we had elves. And in real life we are like the same heights, all the cast, so we had to fake it, and the elves has to stand on top of these wobbly boxes while the dwarves had to be on their knees on the ground. So it was pretty interesting setup.
There's always a lot of differences between the races, and one of my favorite details is that in the scene where elves are chasing the dwarves are running through the forest, the camera is shaking, you can clearly hear their heavy footsteps. Then again, the elves, they run so smoothly, so silently, so gracefully.
Our composer did not only make the music, but also the sounds for the Ring of Power.
The Ring of Power says Utsbard Gabil Nargun Aimenu Rakhas Aimenu. This is language of dwarves, and it means Great Lord Mordor is after you, orcs are after you.
We see Thranduil in these Peter Jackson films as this mighty elven king, and now we had a chance to create the backstory for him and see this whole nother side of him that is more vulnerable and tragic.
We wanted to make a short story that would work as a prequel to the Peter Jackson's Hobbit films. Because of this, for me, one of the more important moments was to capture the change in the Elven King, that he's no longer interested in dealing with the dwarves in a friendly manner, but instead he's now looking at the Lonely Mountain, the place that he's fighting for in the Hobbit trilogy.
The favorite scene is definitely the post-credit scene where Kili and Fili are in the lake, and during that shooting we were both very tired and we just had a lot of fun and I almost fell down.
I think my favorite scene has to be the one with all of the characters, with my elves and these dwarves, and see this whole group come together.
Tee nyt.